RT, what do I do when I need content? Some people, they need, some nice new treasures. They hit up the local graveyard. I'm not saying that's okay, but they're grave diggers.
Sure, you dabble.
For me, the graveyard is CBR. Oh. That is where I go to find my worst, most dead inside takes. And when a grave robber might be digging up bodies, I'm digging up bad takes.
You really are. And you are digging frequently, my friend. They provide
absolutely.
mucho bodies.
That's what they say about me. I'm always digging.
Yes.
So, hey, today we're taking a look at a little take by CBR, Arkham Knight's Batmobile caught too much flack. And if you don't know what that means that they're saying that we gave it way too much crap, not just us.
Yeah, we did look into it. We thought it was a racial slur at first, but it's not. So that's good.
Absolutely not. It's just a normal thing, so that's nice.
CBR, not racist. That's confirmed.
Confirmed here. Hey, so here's the thing. Before we get started, I just want to make a really quick announcement. I've said it a couple times before, but I am hammering it home. We have made the new Let's Play channel. T and I over there are going to be playing through a couple things, including Arkham Origins.
Yes.
And also, Nate and I are playing through some stuff, including the first Kingdom Hearts, and eventually we'll get to the Final Fantasy VII Remake. So we're very excited about this.
Kingdom Hearts is in 4K, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that
4K.
That is a giant plus. That's
absolutely.
Cool.
1440p for PC games that we're playing through because I'm a cheap boy and I only paid $500 per monitor, I guess.
For you. Yeah.
Wow, what a simp.
Soft.
And 4K for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games. So gonna be a real fun time. We hope you check it out, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep up to date on that channel. We are not uploading there until May, but we are trying to get over a few thousand subs to start, just so we can actually get a good head start on that one. Very excited, and we hope you check it out. Now back to grave digging once again.
It's good to be here.
So here's the thing with this whole article. One, by the way, it comes across to me a little condescending. I'm sure that's not the point of it, but it comes across as like, hey, listen. You might think the Batmobile's bad, but I'm going to tell you why it's not.
I just don't think you get it.
And maybe I've done that a few times. I think any content creator's a little guilty of that. But the whole thing is, this is pretty much an established take. I mean, I very rarely hear someone say, no, it's the best part of the game.
It's borderline an objective truth at this point.
Yes.
Now, you understand that, and their point is that at some of their points, is that it's good gameplay, which is not the issue. There are some things that could be improved. There could be some more depth to it. But
absolutely.
It's still good, it's fluid, it's fun to drive. The problem is, it's the focal point of the game. It's centered around everything in the game, including combat, including like missions everywhere, DLC. The story itself, there are like missions in the main story where it's centrally focused on you in the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be a problem, but it's just everywhere. If it was just sprinkled in, it'd be cool.
And I want to point out with this too, because when we take a look at articles, we try to read bits of them, summarize bits of them, and leave bits of them alone. The point of it is to use it as inspiration, not to steal someone's whole article and post it all on the internet. But with this, what they kind of go on to say is that the main criticism, other than the reveal of the Arkham Knight, which we've gone over before in depth, is basically that they went this different route and included the Batmobile, like you said, in every single aspect. And they go on to say that Rocksteady's Arkham trilogy is known for innovation and taking risks, with each game greatly expanding on the successes of the previous one. They found great success with Arkham Asylum, a Metroid-style adventure game with a simple plot and fun gameplay. In some ways, I agree with that about that game, because it is like you go through areas and then when you come back and you have more tools, you can do different things. That is sort of what Metroidvania is.
Okay.
But the games went on to not really be that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really gain access to areas that often outside of just Riddler stuff that might be around that you might need another tool to get to in the later games. Like, it'll be like, hey, if you need the disruptor to do stuff in the steel mill, you can't just walk into the steel mill and it's worthless. Right. It's like you get the disruptor, then you go into the steel mill.
Or with, freeze. After you get the freeze grenade and stuff like that. You need that to get across certain areas. So, yes.
And they did sort of expand on those ideas, and those elements are still there. So CBR is not wrong in that. And then they went on to say, that obviously they went into an open world with Arkham City, and they just kept innovating and adding a larger map, multiple side quests, and that's true. This is something that they are known for, is innovating and adding new things. However, I think something important to point out is while we like innovation, do you think innovating is always good? Is new always good? Or is sometimes new not the best direction? I mean, because I would argue that the Batmobile's new, but it wasn't the best direction to go if you were going to innovate.
No, innovation is typically a good thing because
Right.
you're creating new, and you can even. So here's the thing: innovation doesn't necessarily need to be a completely new thing. It can
Right.
just build upon what you've already established as great, and what you've previously.
Well,
innovated.
Fortnite did this. I mean, you and I don't love Fortnite, but just as a little example, building in a why am I losing my battle royale game?
Yes, yeah.
I was losing my train of thought here.
Yeah.
Building in a battle royale game was sort of a new thing, or at least something they popularized, and it sort of went on to explode this whole genre beyond just PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and stuff like that. That is an innovation, and not everybody's going to like your innovation either. You know, sometimes it takes a while to catch on. But I think if 90% of the people who enjoy your innovation, or 75 or even above 50, who play your game and are experiencing your innovation don't like it, that's a bit of a problem. Because obviously you're not doing something right that connects with players. And I think that's the issue with the Batmobile, is not boo innovation. It's not, I don't want new thing.
No.
It's that new thing does not always mean the new thing is good. It's a good idea to try new things. But the problem with the Batmobile is not that it's new, it's that it is in every aspect. And they go on to talk about this a little bit more beyond that, about how Arkham Knight is expanding from Arkham City, and how the Batmobile was like a totally new thing. But the problem is that they're giving it credit that I don't think it deserves. I mean, yeah, so what some players may not realize is that the Batmobile combat is designed to mirror Batman's free flow combat system in terms of what they're talking about, like, building up a combo and stuff.
Getting rhythm, sure.
But here's the thing. That was an extremely refined system over years.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you get to the Arkham Knight, this system of combat and stealth has absolutely reached its pinnacle, and that's why it's at its best in Arkham Knight, because they've taken years to polish this. And it's not that the combat system is awful. It's just that you do it so much that it gets repetitive. And that's
For the Batmobile.
For the Batmobile, right? Not for the combat and the stealth. And with CBR, what they're saying is that they've polished this, or that it's a fun and fresh combat every time that you get into a combat environment with the Batmobile. It's not. There are not that many enemies as far as variety, and you're doing the same thing over and over again, where it's mostly, I mean, you could use the EMP. I never really used it. It was mostly just shoot, aim for the head, try to break them down, and then hit square a bunch of times and blow everything up.
Well, that's the thing too.
What happened
is they go on to talk about how basically you're trying to overcome specific enemies and build up a combo to utilize special attacks like an instant takedown or multi-ground takedown in the normal thing. But they're saying that mirrors this as well, because when we talk about this, multiple different types of enemy tanks, such as long-range Mambas and flying drones, ensure that each encounter feels fresh. But you pointed that out to me, they don't feel fresh, because there's not like 6 or 7 types of enemies like in the normal combat. So in normal combat, you have normal people, you have riot shield people, you have normal people with guns, you have medics that will then actually shoot out electricity and make another guy electric. Right there we have 5 types. You have the giant normal guy, like the big elite enforcer. You have the enforcer brute with the shield. That's 7 types right there. You have the ninja. You have the normal guy with a knife. You have the normal guy with a taser. We're already at over 10 different types. Now, what do they have for the Batmobile? You have the flying Mambas, which are basically those little attack helicopters. You have the normal tank that just shoots 1 blast forward. You have the tank that shoots out the 3 blast, in 3 different directions. Then you have the Cobra tanks. You might have one more than.
Well, the one that's kind of like a heat-seeking, or like a car-seeking
that's like 5.
Over that you shoot down.
So you have about 5, and the early on ones, by the way, will only have 1 or 2 of those.
Yes. Yeah.
For probably a good portion of the game, and then it starts expanding outwards. And it's not just that it's in the story. I think if it was in the story the amount it is, and in no other aspect of the game, we could probably deal with it, right?
Yes.
But it's in all of the, not all, but a lot of the side content too. I mean, going around chasing down the APCs.
That's a huge part of it. If you're going to platinum the game, you have to do that a lot.
Yeah,
that's
you
a
have
big
to do
part
that.
of it.
And that's probably the best one. Out of those.
Yeah,
you have
otherwise
to disarm the mines,
that's the big
disarmed
one.
and dangerous or whatever. You have to do it for all these Riddler things.
Well, and a lot of the DLC came in too. I mean, when you got the game initially, the Scarecrow missions, they were fun when I first got them, because that was the first real taste of the Batmobile that I got. So it was really fun at the time.
Yeah.
But there are a bunch of other cars, and they're cool. Here's the thing. A lot of the stuff is cool in principle, but when it's consistently shoved down your throat and it's a something you're forced to do where it kind of takes you away from being Batman. It's more so of just like, I'm driving around in a tank smashing people is mostly what it is. That doesn't feel like Batman to me.
No, it starts to hit like a Twisted Metal vibe instead of Batman. And I disagree with some people where they say, well, Batman's Batmobile wouldn't be a tank. Like some people say that. That's true in some circumstances, but if you look like The Dark Knight Returns, it straight up is a tank.
Yeah.
But
or even the Tumbler.
Yeah, but the Tumbler is too. But the thing is that like that's not why you play the game. You know, you don't play it to play Tank Man.
No,
you play it to play Batman. And so if you're going to include this, it sort of should have been more optional. And maybe if it was in the game half as much, it would have felt a lot more special.
I think that's the thing, is it lost its touch, because at first when you when like Batman is up on that ledge and he says even in the odds, and then you jump down into your Batmobile and you start destroying people, that's an awesome moment and I loved that. But throughout the entire course of the story, with all of the side missions, the main plot, everything going on there, and it consistently, I mean, you were at one point going on a roof and like using a wench and stuff to like traverse a rooftop and stuff, which is fine, but like it was basically forced everywhere you went, you were using this Batmobile. And I think that if they would have sprinkled it in and had really great moments with it where like, say you have to call the Batmobile in a point of like, I need help, please, like, and that's kind of like the rare exceptions where the Batmobile comes in, saves the day, you get in, and then you clean stuff up.
Yeah.
But it was like, no, get ready, you're gonna have a giant battle in your tank, and this is all it's gonna be. And so
it happens a lot too. Like it happens those times with Poison Ivy when you're defending her and the flowers. It happens again when like there's even, by the way, one of the most frustrating things to me was that there's even non-Batmobile segments focused around the Batmobile. Like, I need to get back down into the Scarecrow toxin to replace the Batmobile's core.
It's
like, it's too much. Like it's like even when I'm not in the thing, you have to talk about it. Like stop. It's like it's always there. And I don't know how anyone can love that aspect of it. I mean, once you get into those challenge maps then and you have all these races too.
Yeah, and it's part of the Riddler stuff too.
Yeah, and
the Riddler stuff, it's crucial for you to be good at driving around and timing speed bursts right and everything like that.
And they can't even put the effort in to make the different Batmobiles have combat modes.
No, they don't. No. Some of them, and a lot of the really cool ones that we liked ended up not getting tank
89, Tumbler, BVS.
Like, which Tumbler is the biggest problem. Like, that's a literal tank. It's a tank.
I can see 89, but Tumbler and the BVS are actual tanks.
Yeah.
I mean, the BVS one is literally, he's out there murdering people. I mean, he would have a gun on that. You know, like, it's insane. So, I don't know. Do you have anything to add to this other than just, I don't, like, completely disagree. Like, I think in some ways, they're right. There should be some celebration of the fact that a game developer that focused on foot games is able to make an expansive driving system. Like, that's cool. It's just nobody wanted it. That's more my thing.
No, and I think that I think I wanted a Batmobile, I think. I wanted to be able to drive around in Gotham City in the Batmobile to a certain extent. But I didn't want it so bad that it was all that you were doing. It felt like it was all that you were doing in the game a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, listen, you want to get around the city faster? Get in your car. If you want to be successful in any combat, you want to have your car with you. And like you can even use it in your normal combat to have your car right there. And so I mean, it was everywhere. And I loved the way that it was designed, and I liked the look of it, and I liked the feel of driving it around. I just wish it wasn't there all the time. It was built up to be more of a special circumstance than it was just that's all you're doing.
Absolutely. It should have been a treat, not the mainstay of the entire game. So hey, let us know what you think in the comments down below. What are your opinions on the Batmobile in Arkham Knight? Do you think it does get too much flack? Do you think it's actually really good? Or do you think that the dislike and distaste of it is justified? Let us know what you're thinking. Hey, be sure to check out the Let's Play channel that will be linked in the description down below. And also check out my friend Alice's channel, who was actually nice enough to help me get a lot of this Batmobile gameplay and record it for me so that I didn't have to play Batman for multiple hours this week and was able to take a break. That was super awesome of her. She's doing Let's Plays over on her channel and building up an audience and is a great friend always and always looking out. So hope you check that out as well, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.